Hello everyone. In the previous sessions, we have seen what is SQL, what is MySQL, and we have covered almost each and every important command related to SQL. And also in the backend session, we have talked about Node.js, Express.js, and we have seen in detail understanding of APIs. But we did this databases and backend separately, and till now we don't know how to add or how to use this concept of databases in backend. So in this session, we are going to see how we can integrate our database, which is MySQL, with our backend, and we are gonna see how we are going to use the concept of node with our database, and in this case our database is going to be MySQL. Okay, so here, before we dive into the concepts of how we can integrate our backend with our database, there is a package which I want to discuss about, and this package is going to be an important part of our whole session. So till now, if you recall the concepts of SQL, in SQL what we did, we created various tables. Like in SQL part 1, we have created a superhero table. In SQL part 2, we have created students table, right? So here we have been creating different databases, and in that database we can create multiple table, and in this multiple table we were creating data in these tables manually, right? We have been creating our data manually, like adding operations, creating, reading, updating, deleting, basically performing CRUD operations on this data we were doing manually. We were creating data within this database, and we are doing all the sort of things by our own. But in this session, we are really good developers now. We are going to end the development process by React. So here we are gonna use a package which is used to generate fake data. Like automatically it will generate fake data, and we will take this generated data to perform our CRUD operations. Okay, so here faker.js is used to generate fake data. It is a npm package, and the whole name of this package is faker.js. So we will install this package in our directory, whatever the directory. I'm thinking of creating a MySQL directory, MySQL class. So in this folder, I will install this package. And what this package do, it will generate data, it will generate random data, and we will use this randomly generated bulk data to perform operations in our database and along with our server. Okay, so let us see first of all how this package will work. After that, we will go into the integration part of our databases with our backend. So first of all, let us talk about faker.js. So here in Chrome browser, I have opened the application, the npm page for faker.js. This is the URL. I will provide you the URL links of everything in the comment section. Okay, so here to install faker.js, before installation, you can see you can create a person's name. Like you can create name, email, phone number, location, date, cryptocurrencies, all this sort of things you can do using the package of faker.js. This will generate randomly. These are not real world things, but this is used to generate random data, and we will use this random data to perform further operations in our lecture. Okay, so to install this, we need to run this command in our folder. So first of all, let me create my folder in C drive users data. I will create a folder. Let's say my folder name is node with SQL class. So node underscore SQL underscore class. This is my folder I am creating. Now I will open this folder with my VS Code. So here in the VS Code, I will open the folder. Open folder, where is my folder? This is my folder. I will open it. Now to install packages, what we use terminal. So let me open terminal, and let me first of all create a JSON package. So here npm init underscore y. This will create a JSON file. You can see I got the JSON file. Now after this, I will clear. To install faker package, we need to run this line. So I will copy this line and paste it in my terminal, click enter, and you can see in the modules, in the node modules, we'll get the package of Faker.js. Right? Now let us see how we can use this application. So to use this application, in my directory, I need to create a file which is index.js. So here I will write index.js file, and in this file I will use my Faker application. So to use my Faker application, let me go to the documentation. The first line is we need to require the package. So here requiring the package is the first thing. Now after that, we can use all this sort of things. This is the thing. Let me copy this, and this line will generate random data. So here let me create a variable let, and I will make this as a function. So here let is equals to and a arrow function. Okay, this is a arrow function in itself, and in this what I'm doing, I have created a variable let create random user. This function will create a random user using the concept of Faker.js. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm creating user ID, username, and email, avatar, password, birthday, and past date, past registered date. Now to run this command in the terminal, let me clear. What I'm gonna do is that I will run node index.js. This will run my application, and here in this application, first of all let me print it. I'm just running it, I'm not printing anything. So I will print console.log, and whatever the data I'm generating, where I'm storing that data, I'm storing that data in this function. So to print something in the console screen, I need to call this function. So here I will call create random user function. This will print my data in the console screen. So here I will run again node index.js. This will run my print my data in the console screen, and you can copy this link. Right? You can see I have generated some random ID, name is I don't know what this name is, and random email. What is this image? This is an image, I guess. Let me open this image. You can see I got some random image out of internet. And one more thing is, password, random password, date of birth, and registered date. If I run this command again now, then I will get some other data. Like you can see, if I open this image, open the image, and I got some random image. Like this, Faker.js generates random images, random things from the internet. Okay, got it. So I hope you have understood how Faker.js will work and why we use the Faker.js. We use the concept of Faker.js to generate random data, and this generated random data we are going to use it in the further process. Okay, got it. So to add our MySQL with our node, we use again a package, a npm package, and the name of that package is MySQL2. And by using this package, we can integrate our node with our database, in this case our MySQL database. So MySQL2 package is used to integrate our node with our MySQL. Okay, so let us see how we can use this package. Again, I will open my npm website. I will search npm SQL2, MySQL2. So this is the package, and to install this package we need to copy this line. So I will copy this line, I will paste it in my terminal screen and click enter. Our download will begin. Now you can see in the node modules, there is, along with Faker, there is another new package. Let me zoom it. You can see there is another package called as MySQL2. So this package is used to integrate our node with our MySQL. Now how we gonna use it, right? We have downloaded the package. Now let us see the usage and the setup of this package. So for the setup, there will be another documentation which I have read just now. Yeah, you can see this is the GitHub repository, and to create a connection, first of all we have to write these things. So here, to use MySQL2 package, we need to require it first. So here I will write MySQL is equals to require, and along with it I will give MySQL2 package. So this will require the necessary, like whatever the things which are there in the package, those package will be available in my index.js file. Now after this we need to create a connection. So here I will write my connection name. So I will write connect const, const database is equals to MySQL dot create connection. So what this function will do is that it will create a connection with our node terminal and between our node terminal and the MySQL database. So till now we have been using our MySQL database in our workbench. By writing this function, by importing this package, we can use the MySQL database within our node. So for that, what I'm gonna do is that I will write create connection, and in this connection I have to write host, and host is our local host because we are running our application locally. So local host, and user is our root user. So root, and password, I need to give the password which I have given. If you remember in the SQL part 1, while I am downloading the SQL, I have given the root password. So that password I need to give it here. So I'm not gonna show you my password for now, I'm gonna leave it blank. When I'm using my SQL server, then I will write my password. Right now I'm gonna leave it blank, right? Okay, now I need to give the database, which database I'm gonna use. Let's say I want to use my student database. In the previous session we have created a student database. So if I'm using that database now, then I have to give the name of that database here. So this single line will create a connection with our node and with our MySQL server. Okay, now along with it we can run our queries as well. For example, if I want to run a query, then I can do that. If I want to create a query, then I can do like db.query, and along with it which query I want to run. For example, if I want to show all the tables, then I will write SQL commands show tables, and along with it I will give a callback if I got error or result, right? So here if I got error, then I will throw the error. Here I will write throw error. If I didn't get an error, then I will print console.log, and I will print here database. Okay, I will print whatever the result this database will give, this command will give. Like this we can connect our database with our node. This is one method. Like this we have 4 different methods. So let me discuss all these 4 methods. Connecting our node application with our SQL, with our MySQL, we have 2 types, right? The first type is install MySQL2, and after installing MySQL2, what you will do is that you will follow the conventional method. You know, you have seen, like, first of all we will require the package. After requiring the package, we will, like, what we will do is that we will create a connection. After creating a connection, we can use different commands, like there is a function called as execute. We can use the execute function, or if we want to perform a certain query, then you will use query function. Like this you can directly within the index.js file you can execute SQL commands. This is one method. Second method is CLI method. What this CLI method will do is that in the command prompt, in the terminal itself, we can run our SQL. I will show you how we will do it, but this is the second method. If you remember, when we studied Node.js, in Node.js, what is Node? Node is a runtime environment where we can run our JavaScript. Like that, to run our SQL, a CLI, command line interface, using command line interface, we can run our MySQL application. Okay, this is second method. And the third method is by schema method. by creating SQL files. In our VS Code, we will create SQL files, and using these files we can run our we can integrate our node with our SQL. This is third method. And the fourth method is manually, like you create your data in SQL workbench. After that, take this data and add it into node. Like this, we can use 4 different types to connect our node application with our MySQL. And I have just shown you the first method, writing conventional code. This is the conventional code. What I will do is that I will first of all download my package. Let me clear all this. Okay, CLER, clear. Okay, after downloading the package, MySQL2 package, I will require that package, and I will create this line. This line will create a connection with my SQL along with node. Okay, this is one method. And the second is CLI method. Let me write it here, CLI. And the full form of CLI is command line interface. So in this command prompt, we can use MySQL directly. How we can do it? By just writing the path of my SQL workbench. So this is my SQL, right? MySQL workbench. So what I will do is that I will copy the path of this file. I will copy the path of this application and I will paste it in my terminal. So what I'm gonna do is that I will paste the path of my SQL workbench, and when I click enter, now you will see I am getting enter password. So I will enter the root password of my workbench. So here I will write my password, fine, and this will create a runtime environment of MySQL. Like a node will create a runtime environment of JavaScript, like that in the terminal itself we can create an environment where we can write our SQL. So here I can create a database, I can access different database. For example, in the previous session you can see in the workbench we have different databases like different servers, new connection, SQL class, student, and you can see in student we are having different data like Moinuddin, Jabir, Rizwan data like this. If I want to use this database now, then I will write use student, or let me show the data, like show databases. So this will, so let me show data bases basis. Now this will show entire database of my workbench. How many databases I am having? You can see I am having information schema, MySQL, and these were the 2 databases which we created in the previous session. In SQL part 1 and part 2 we have created these 2 databases. So within the CLI, within the terminal, we can access anything, whatever the thing we have created now, we can access all those things within the terminal. This is second method. And also I can use a particular database. For example, if I want to use the database of student forum, so here I will write student form, and you can see I am having database changed. Now if I want to show the tables involved in it, then here I need to give statement terminator, right? Show tables. Click enter, and you will see whatever the tables I have created now, those tables will be displayed on my screen. Like this, I can directly access my SQL server with my terminal. Now the third method is schemas, right? Here in my Node.js application, first of all, let me come out of this SQL workbench. So I will click on quit, and when I click on quit now, it is showing bye. So I have came out of my runtime environment. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is that I will create a file, and in this file I will create a schema.sql. So using this file I can access the databases, whatever the databases I have created in my SQL server. So this is my SQL server, right? So in this server I have created different databases, like student forum is a server, student forum is a database, superhero is a database like this. I might have create different databases. I can access all those databases using SQL files. So here in the VS Code, I will create a SQL file, and let's say I want to show the tables. So here I will write show tables. Okay, this single line will show all the tables, whatever the tables I have created in that database. I will show that tables using this single line. So how to run this? First of all, I will clear all this and I will go again to my SQL environment. So I will go into my SQL environment. I will enter my root password, click enter, and you can see in my SQL environment, this is my environment, right? In this environment, if I want to run my file, so first of all I need to choose which database. So let's say I want to choose my student form database, right? Student form, click enter. You can see database has changed. Now if I want to run this schema file, this is my schema.sql file, right? So to run that, I will write surc source schema.sql. I will run the command, and whatever the tables I have created, whatever the line I have written in my schema.sql, those commands will get automatically executed. So this is third method. And the fourth method is normal method, like create data and take this data, use this file and add that file in our node. This is random method. This is very nuanced conventional method, right? So these are the four methods, and I hope you have understood how we can use our MySQL database with our Node.js. And I know, like, this is the very first time you might be hearing all this and a lot of confusion may occur. So for that, what I have planned is that in this session we will build a very simple application, and by just building that simple application now, you will understand how integration will work, how database integration will work with our backend. So in this session I have used Faker.js, right? So using Faker.js, I will create a simple application, and let me tell you the overall structure of the application as well, and by talking about structure, everything will become clear. Okay, so let me revise a little bit. So Faker.js is a package which is used to generate fake data, or you can say random data, right? To generate random data bulk, we use Faker.js. Okay, now to integrate our MySQL database with our node, we use a package called as MySQL2, and this package gives us the power to integrate node with our SQL, and there are four different methods we can through which we can add our database with our backend. These four methods are: first one is conventional method. We will require MySQL package, MySQL2 package, and after that we will follow a set of standard methods. Like for example, if we want to use Express now, we use a standard method, right? Similarly, to use our MySQL database with our node, we use a conventional coding method. This is first type. Second type is using CLI, command line interface. In the command line interface, we will give the overall path of our MySQL server, and this will give me a power. This CLI will give me a power to access this server within my VS Code. This is second method. And the third method is we will create SQL files, and after creating the SQL files along with CLI, we can change the data using this file. We can run our SQL commands in this file, and within the terminal we can run those commands. This is third method. And the fourth method is old school method. Opening your workbench, create data, add data, very basic method, and take this data, create a file for that data and use it in our node. Like, okay, these are the 3-4 methods basically which we are going to use to integrate our MySQL with our Node. Okay, got it. Now we have talked enough about alien language, right? We have seen, okay, this theory, that theory, all this. Now we will apply all these concepts to build a simple application. We're not gonna build a real-time good-looking platform. We are not gonna do that. We will build a simple application using Faker.js, because this will give me random data, and we will integrate our MySQL with our backend. And by creating this real-time application, now you will understand how integration will work in detail. Okay, are we excited? And in this session, let me tell you the overall architecture of this application. So this application is very simple. We have studied APIs, and in API we have talked about a concept called as resource API. Resource API is the API, the main thing around which our whole application revolves. Okay, so in this application, what we are going to do is that we will create an app, and this app in the home directory, we will show all random generated data. Like whatever this Faker.js will generate now, I will show all the data, right? This is first path, and second path is /update. If I want to update a particular user data, then I will use /update path. Okay, now if I want to edit the data of a particular user data, then I will use /edit path. And if I want to delete it, then I will use delete path. Basically, I am performing CRUD operations, and in this time we will do all this without using my workbench. Okay, MySQL workbench. We will not enter into MySQL workbench. Within the VS Code, I will run my SQL, I will run my backend, and you guys will see how the application will work. Okay, are we ready? Let's start. So what I'm gonna do is that, first of all, let me open my VS Code, and one more thing is, in this, let me tell you the architecture as well. Architecture of our whole applications. From now on, whatever the application I'm gonna create, we are gonna create this architecture we are gonna follow. So till now, here let me write all this. Till now we have been following a simple architecture. In Frontend, we used to create HTML, CSS and JS application, right? After creating Frontend, we have talked a little bit about servers, a little bit about backend. So what used to happening, what we were used to doing back then was, we were creating server using Node and Express, okay? And using the concept of APIs, we were sending API, which is basically URL request from our front end to our servers, and in that we were having no databases, right? There were no database. We were creating arrays. If you remember, in APIs chapter, we have created the array, and in that array we have created a core application, right? Using that array we have created a core application. Okay, so till now we have been using this overall architecture without database. Now what will happen from now on is that in front end side, we will create, in the place of HTML, we will replace that with EJS, CSS and JavaScript. We will send our request to our server, and server is built on Node and Express, right? And we will send a request. Request is nothing but API, right? We will send a request from our front end to our server, and this server will send whatever the incoming operations request we are having. Server will send that to our database, and in this case MySQL is our database. This is the architecture we are going to follow from now on. I hope you guys are clear. So server will send request, operational request, and my database, MySQL will perform some operations, and in return it will give some data, and this data is returned to front end. Like this, our whole application will work from now on. Okay, clear? And real-time applications also, if you take Amazon, if you take Flipkart, all these applications work like this only. So let me go back to my application, but before that, let me tell you the EJS as well, EJS structure also. I hope you have understood. We are creating an application in which we show the data. So for this, I will create home.ejs file. This will show all data, whatever the random generated data. Now if I want to edit, then I will go into a page called as edit.edit.ejs. This is a form page in which I edit my data. Now if I want to show a particular user's data, then I will create a page show.ejs, right? And this will show data of a single user, right? So these are the 3 EJS pages we need, and along with it index.js. In this index.js we will be having Express and MySQL. So I will not use MySQL workbench. Within the VS Code, within this index.js file, I will write my SQL. So let us see how this will work, right? So first of all, I will open my database. Let me clear all these things. I will remove all the things. I will delete all the things here. Now, what is the first thing? To generate random data, we need to install a package, and that package is npm faker.js. So here, let me install JSON file. Let me create a JSON file in it. _y. This will create JSON. Now after this, I will run my faker.js, right? So npm where is my installation? Yeah, this is the installation. Copy this line, and first of all let me clear this. I don't want to see any error, so clear and paste it. So this will create my faker.js. So here, this has created my faker.js application. Now after this, I will also install clear MySQL2. So here, where is MySQL2? You can see I have installed my SQL server. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is that I will write the entire backend code first. After that, I will create my home.ejs file, show file, all this front end file I will write later. But for now, let me create my backend code. So the first thing I'm gonna do is that I will create index.js. So in this, first of all, I will require Express. Express is equals to require require Express. After requiring Express, I will require my SQL2. So here my SQL is equals to require MySQL2. Now after requiring MySQL2, let me also require faker.js. Now let me require const faker.js, right? We already know how to require it. So faker is equals to require @faker/js. Okay, now after this, there is another requirement which we need, because we are using APIs and we are sending data. For example, if I am editing something now, let's say in the edit page, I am editing the username and email ID. Now, if I am doing that, then I need to send data. Like when I click on update, then that data will get sent from the front end to my server, right? And my server is a Node application, so it will not understand text. So for that, I need to parse data. So to parse data, we use a middleware. We will talk about what is middleware in the next upcoming lectures, but let me write a line, and that line we don't know. Right now we don't know what that line is, but the thing you need to remember here is whenever in our application, when editing is happening, when I'm updating data, when I click on update, right, that data, whatever the data I have updated now, that data will get transferred from my front end to my database, to my server, and that data is in text format. But my application is a Node application, so to parse the data now, we use a package which is body parser. So for that I'm gonna install body parser. I will write installation called as here in the terminal. First of all, let me clear all this. Now I will write npm install body parser. So here body parser, right, and along with it let me install EJS Express as well. So click on enter, and all this installation will begin now, and this might take some time based on your internet connectivity. I have installed all the packages. Now I will require the body parser. So here I will write body parser, parser is equals to require, and in this I will write body parser. Okay, now after requiring all these things, I am going to create my server app. So here const app is equals to express function, and along with it let me also create a port. Const port is equals to 3000. This is my port name. So we have required all the packages, we have created a port. Now let me create EJS setup. Let me set up the EJS, right? So here I will write app.set. We already know how to set up EJS, right? View engine and comma EJS. After this app.use. In this I will write a line which we don't know, but in when we study middlewares, then we'll understand how the things will work. So body parcel.url encoded. I know this is a sort of alien language, but believe me, when we study middlewares, then everything will become clear. Okay, now in this I will write extended true. Okay, now after writing this, this is our EJS setup. Now let us go into MySQL setup. MySQL DB setup, or you can say connection. So first of all, to connect, I'm going to use my conventional method. I will write const db is equals to mysql.create connection. This will create a connection with MySQL server and the backend. Okay, now I will give host. Host is our localhost, and along with it I will give the user. So my user is root and password. I'm not gonna write my password in front of you guys, so I will leave it blank. When I am running my server, I will give the password. Okay, got it. Now I will write the database. What is the database I want to create? Let's say I want to create a database called as testing. So I will write testing. This will create a database called as testing. Okay, now after creating connection, we are going to connect our database with my backend. So for that I will use a function called as connect. So here I will write db.connect, and what this will do is that I will connect my SQL server with my node. Remember, connect is a function which we use to connect our backend with our server, with our database. So here I will write, if I am getting an error in the connection, then I will throw that error to a arrow function. If I am getting an error, then I will throw that error to my console, throw error. If not, then I will print console.log. In this I will write database connected. So connected, I am writing. Now you may proceed your operations. I am printing it in my terminal. You may proceed with your operations. Okay, got it. Now after creating connection, now let us talk about routes, our APIs. So the first API is home API. If I get a request on my /route, then I will write app.get. Let's say if I get a request on my app dot, then I will send a request callback, request comma response. I will give here in my database. Here let me come back to my PPT. I will create another new PPT. Okay, background color. Okay, now what each page will do is that we are having different APIs, right? We are having different URLs basically, and if I am getting / which is my home directory, then what is my work? Whatever the databases I am having, like in my database, whatever the data I am having, I want to show all that data. Okay, so for this I will run a query command, and in that query I will select all the rows from my database. Okay, this is first query, first URL request. If I get /edit now, then what I will do is that I will choose that particular ID. In this path I will also add which ID, for which ID you want to perform. For example, let's say I am having a user the Jabir Hussain, his ID is 1. After that I am having the Batman, his ID is 2. Now if I want to edit the data of second user, then I have to give the ID along with the URL, right? In my API I will give /edit /2, right? Now when I give /2 now, in my database I will give the data of second ID user, and I will perform edit operations. I will perform edit operations on that particular user. Okay, now after performing edit, I will update the data. So this will go into my /update API. So this when I click on update in my edit button, in my edit page, I will be having a update button. When I click on update now, I will go to /update API, and this will add data, updated data into my database. Okay, now if I want to show a particular ID, for example, if I want to show the data of ID 1, then I will go to my database, I will perform query, and I will select the data which is having that ID, and I will display that data to my user, right, from my DB to user. So this is the workflow our whole application is going to have. Okay, so here when I get a request on my home directory, I will run a query on my database, and I will select all the rows. So here query, and in this I will select select star from users. How many users are there? I don't care, right? I will select all the users, and I will give a callback. If I am getting an error, then I will tell my user that I got an error. If I am getting the results, whatever the results I got, I will print those results. So here let me write, if I got an error, then I will throw that error to my user. If I didn't get error, then I will render those that data to my home page. So here I will write home, and along with it I will give user. Whatever the results I got now, I will send it like this. I am doing, this is my home API. And the next is adding data. So to add data, basically adding is nothing but generating fake data. So here what I'm gonna do is that I will, if I get a request called as /add fake, then I will, based on the request, I will give result, and in the result what I'm gonna do is that I will create a fake user is equals to, and in this I will give name as faker.person.full-name. So this will generate the name. Faker will generate the name of the user, and along with it, if I want to get the email, so here I will write email faker.internet.email. I will generate the fake data. Now after generating the fake data, what I'm gonna do is that I will add this data into my database. So here I will run a query, database query, and I will write insert, just normal SQL commands. So here NESRET insert into users, and I will give name comma email, and the values. What are the values? VALUES values is going to be whatever the values I got, like whatever the values I'm getting, I'm gonna add those values. So here comma, I will write fake user.email comma fake user dot, here I need to give name, not email, user dot name and user dot email. I am adding those generated data into my SQL. If I got an error, let's say in insertion, if I am getting an error, or if I got the result, then I will throw that error. If there is an error, then I will throw that error, else I will render my page. So here I will redirect to my main API, which is my root directory. So here root directory. I hope you are clear. Now let me tell you again what I did in the home directory. This is about my adding API. This is how adding will work in our application. Now if I want to edit a particular thing now, then I will create a new API called as app.get. In this I will write /edit, / if for that particular ID, right? For that particular ID, if I am getting a request, then I will send a response. Response is const. I will get the ID first, right? So here user ID is equals to require.params.id. Now after getting the ID, what I'm gonna do is that I will take that ID and in my database I will search for that ID, right? First of all I will run query, so db.query, and I will select the user, select star from user where ID is equals to whatever the ID I got. If that ID is matching, then what I'm gonna do is that user ID, if that is the case, if the ID is matching, then I will send a callback result, and the callback is going to be, if it is error, then throw error, else I will render, response dot render, that I will render edit page comma along with the data. So here user result 0, like along with the data I am rendering a edit page. Okay, got it. So this is our edit API. Now if I want to update a particular data, whatever the data I have, if I want to update that, then I will write app.post. In this /update /id Okay, now for this request response cycle, this lecture is going to be a little bit slow, but bear with me guys, and if you are not understanding, then I recommend you to watch it again, right? I know that this, if you are listening for the first time, this is slow and confusing, right? But if you watch it again now, then you will understand it. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do is that I will write const user id. I will take the user id and I will again request dot params dot id. I will match that id. Now I will take the username as well, name comma email is equals to request dot params. Now after this I will run a query and I will update the data, like whatever the data I used to have, I will update that with my new data. So here I will write db dot query and I will update general SQL command update users set name is equals to whatever the user is giving me, name comma email is equals to again whatever user is giving me. Now after this name comma email comma user id. Okay, now after this I will send a callback normal my API comma result. My callback is going to be if I got an error. If there is an error, then I will throw that error. Okay, if there is no error, then response dot redirect to my home directory. Okay, now the last API call. The last API call is going to be delete, right? So here I will write delete app dot get slash delete delete slash id, right? If I'm getting a request comma response to this, then first of all I will get the id of the user. So here user id is equals to request dot params dot id. Now after this db dot query I will run my delete command. So delete from my users, where whatever the id it is given, like for that particular id I will delete the username, email id, all this sort of things, right? So here I will write delete user id comma, in this if I got an error, normal thing result. Okay, if there is a error then I will throw error, else I will redirect response dot redirect to my home directory. Okay, now let me tell you in brief what I did till now, what are the things, weird things I did, right? So let me close the terminal. Okay, now first of all I have imported all the packages till now, clear? After that I have set up my EJS connection, all this till now, right? Up to 25 I have set up and required all the packages. Now from line 25, first of all I have created my home directory. If I am getting a request in the home directory, what is my work? My work is to display whatever the data I am having in my database. So whatever the randomly generated data I am having, I am displaying that data to my home.ejs file. This is first API. The next API is adding new data. If you want to add new data, then what we are gonna do is that first of all we will generate using faker.js, we will generate random data and we will take that data and I am inserting that data into my SQL. Okay, after inserting I am redirecting the this slash add fake API back to my home directory. This is second API. And third API is if I want to edit, then what I am doing, first of all I am taking the ID of that particular row. After taking the ID of that particular row, I am searching that row in my database, in my table. Okay, after searching it, I am performing edit operation. I am rendering edit page. Okay, now if I want to update the data, whatever the edit operation I did, if I want to update that data now, then I will take the user ID and I will perform the update operations. Basically I'm performing CUD operations here, right? Now after updating that data, again I'm going back to my home directory. This is my update page. Now after this, again the last operation, if I want to delete something, then I will write my delete API. In that API, first of all I am getting the ID, right? After getting the ID of the delete API, I am searching that ID in my database. Okay, after searching it, I am deleting that data using SQL command. I am deleting that row, and after the completion of deletion, again I am going back to my home directory. So this is what I am doing in my server, in my backend. And you can see whenever I am writing db.query, what I am doing, I am writing SQL commands. So like this we write our SQL within the backend. Now we have created our backend. Now simple thing, creating front-end files, creating EJS file. So what I'm gonna do is that within this package I will first of all create a view folder. So views, and within the view, first application, first page I have to create is home.ejs. So home.ejs. Now in the home.ejs, first of all I will import my package, my doc type. Now after creating, I will write h1 user list. Now after this I will give an anchor tag. Anchor tag is equals to /add fake. Okay, here I need to give add fake data. Okay, this will add, this anchor tag will add new data in my home directory. Okay, now if I want to print all the data, then I will create a unordered list. In this unordered list, let me write ul. In this unordered list I will run a loop, right? I already know how to run a loop. So users dot for each, I will run a for each loop, for each user, and in this I'm just writing my EJS commands, and I will write li. In the li I will give whatever the data the user has generated. So here percentage is equals to user dot name, again percentage greater than. This might be a little bit slow because EJS is sort of slow. Is equals to user dot email. Basically I am showing my data using EJS. Okay, now after this I will give anchor tag again. Anchor tag is equals to edit /edit. Again ID, I need to give ID, right? So is equals to user dot ID, and again percentage symbol. Okay, here I need to give edit. Now if I want to delete that data, again I will give anchor tag and I will give the delete route. So delete, again here slash and percentage is equals to percentage. In this I'm going to write user dot ID, and in this delete. Okay, now again CLI, ending my loop here. So percentage, curly parenthesis, closing bracket, and percentage, like this. Here percentage. Okay, like this I am running my home.ejs file. Now the next file is view users, right? If I want to see a single user, then I will create a users.ejs file. So let me remove it. Here I will create user.ejs. Now in this again import my doc type. I will show first of all h1 user details, and p, in this I will show the data in the strong. So strong strong tag. Within the strong tag I will give name, and here I will use percentage is equals to percentage user dot name, and like this I will copy the same line and again paste it here. when we see the application now, it will be like easy, right? You will understand everything. Okay, here I need to give email, save again. Like this page is used to show a single user. Now we can create a edit page as well. So here edit.ejs, this will edit the entire page. So here what I'm going to do is that edit page. Now first of all, let me write edit user. I'm gonna create a form, and in this form our action is going to be update. I will call my update API. So update slash percentage is equals to percentage user.id, and the method is going to be post method. So here method is equals to post. Now in this, first of all, I'm gonna create a label name here, not for label. Let me remove the for here, name. Okay, and here I will write input symbol, input. Let me remove type is equals to email or text would be good, right? Text, and the value is going to be our user's value. So here value is equals to percentage is equals to percentage and user dot name. I'm gonna display username. If he wanna change it, then he can change it, name. Okay, now after that next line, I will copy the same thing, but in the place of text I'm gonna give email, and here user dot email. Now let me save it, and I will create a update button as well. So br button, and button is going to be update. Type is a submit button, right? Type is equals to submit. Okay, now this is and I can also add one more link, anchor link, which will redirect me to my back to home. So back to home. Let me save it, and what I'm gonna do is that now I will run my application. So here I will open my terminal, I will run my application now, and we will see how the application will work. You can see when I run the application, my application is now working. When I wrote node index.js, database is working, and our application is live. Now I can open my Microsoft Edge. Now you can see if I go to localhost 3000, then I will get the user list. Right now there are no users. Now if I want to add it, then I will click add fake user. You can see I'm getting user's name, his email ID, and I can also edit or delete the user. If I want to add it again, then I will click add again. Like this I can create n number of users at a time. Now for example, if I want to edit the data of this particular user, then I will click on edit. Then you can see my ID is this something. Now in the place of some Jenny, I will write Jabir Hussain something, and I will click on update. Now you can see the name is Jabir Hussain and email ID is something. And if I want to delete a particular data, then I can delete it as well. Like this our CRUD operations will work. So I hope you have understood how we use MySQL2 package to integrate our MySQL server with our Node application. So with that being said, we have completed our MySQL database and our backend. Now in the next lecture, we will be discussing about MongoDB. So with that being said, I will see you in the next one.